thinking is like a hidden poison. It does not destroy you in a single day, but it slowly weakens you with time. It lives inside your mind, waiting for the moment when you feel fragile. Then it whispers phrases like, "You will fail. You are not worthy. Why even bother?" These whispers seem small, but they are deadly. They hold you back from taking steps. They break your courage. They make you accept a future that feels already broken. The reality is life already carries its own difficulties. But when your own thoughts turn against you, the fight becomes twice as heavy. You do not only face the world, you face yourself. This is why you must train your mind before it enslaves you. If you allow negative thoughts to spread, they will decide your routines, your decisions, and your destiny. They will make you blind to your true abilities. Defeating negative thinking does not mean you will never experience a dark thought again. It means you will spot it early. You will not give it permission to settle and grow into worry, fear, or despair. This is not simply about thinking positive. It is about creating a mind so powerful that harmful thoughts cannot survive within it for long. The next 8 principles will help you take charge of your thoughts. They are not just lessons to read and forget. They are mental weapons. Apply them daily, and you will witness something remarkable. Your mind will begin to serve you, not fight against you. Rule 1. Recognize the enemy. Before you can overcome negative thinking, you must first recognize it clearly. Many people drift through life on autopilot, moving from one day to the next without noticing the constant stream of thoughts running through their minds. They feel anxious, stressed, or unhappy, yet they rarely realize that these feelings always begin with small, hidden thoughts. At first, these thoughts seem harmless, but if ignored, they grow like weeds, spreading fear, doubt, and hesitation into every area of your life. Seeing negative thinking for what it is becomes the first and most vital step, because you cannot fight an enemy you do not recognize. It is like trying to catch a thief in your house without realizing he is inside. If you remain unaware, he will continue stealing what belongs to you, your confidence, your peace, and your potential. But once you shine a light on him, you begin stopping the damage. Awareness becomes the gateway to freedom. Begin by paying close attention to your inner voice. Notice the words you speak to yourself whenever things go wrong, when challenges appear, or when you make a mistake. Negative thoughts usually follow certain patterns and familiar phrases. You may hear yourself saying, "I can't handle this. I'm not good enough. What if I fail?" Or, "This is pointless. It will never work." These lines may sound normal because your mind repeats them again and again. At first, they feel minor or unimportant, but each one slowly weakens your belief in yourself. When you catch these thoughts, pause and remind yourself, this is a negative thought. I don't have to accept it. In the beginning, this will feel uncomfortable or unnatural, but with practice, you will grow quicker at noticing these thoughts before they spread and take control of your mind. A powerful method to understand your negative thinking is to write it down. Carry a small notebook or use your phone, and whenever you feel anxious, lost, or hopeless, stop and ask, "What am I thinking right now?" Record the thought exactly as it appears in your head. Seeing it written down helps you step back and separate yourself from it. You will realize it is only a thought, not reality. Many people mistakenly treat their thoughts as facts, but they are not. They are fleeting mental events that rise and fade. The moment you see this truth, you gain the ability to decide which thoughts to follow and which ones to let pass. Negative thinking is tricky. It often disguises itself as logic or honesty. You may tell yourself, "I'm just being realistic about the situation," or "I'm preparing for the worst." While it might sound practical, it is still feeding fear and keeping you stuck. True awareness means learning how to distinguish between wise caution and self-sabotage. Whenever a thought makes you feel trapped, ask yourself 3 key questions. Does this thought help me take action? Does it guide me toward a solution or keep me frozen in place? Would I speak this way to my closest friend if they were in my shoes? If the answer is no, then it is not a helpful thought. It is an enemy trying to control your mind. Recognizing negative thinking is not a one-time task. It requires consistent awareness and patience every day. Your mind is like a room that can hold either light or darkness. When you notice a negative thought creeping in, you are switching on the light. Even the smallest awareness can stop the spread of fear and doubt. With steady practice, you will grow faster at spotting negative thoughts the very moment they appear. You will begin to recognize repeating patterns, see your triggers, and understand which thoughts are trying to hold you back. Each time you identify the enemy, you are already stronger than before. Every small victory builds on the last. By shining a light on your negative thoughts, questioning them, and refusing to let them define you, you gain the strength to stop them from shaping your actions or stealing your future. This is a foundation for every other step you will take. Without recognition of the enemy, no strategy will succeed. Awareness is freedom, and freedom is always the first step toward a calmer, stronger, and more confident mind. Rule 2. Replace the poison. Recognizing negative thinking is only the beginning. Awareness by itself cannot remove the poison from your mind. Many people notice their negative thoughts, yet they fail to replace them with something better. As a result, the damage continues quietly. A strong mind does not just avoid negativity. It fills the empty space with something stronger. Imagine your mind as a glass of water. If the water is dirty and you pour out only part of it, the rest will still make you sick. But if you keep adding clean water until the glass overflows, the dirt disappears and the water becomes pure. Your mind works in the same way. Negative thoughts can fill your mental space unless you deliberately replace them with positive, empowering ones. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, do not leave the space empty. Replace it immediately with constructive thought. For instance, if your mind says, "I can't do this," respond with, "I will try until I learn how." If it says, "This will never work," replace it with, "This will work when I discover the right way." Small, intentional replacements like these gradually reprogram your brain. With time, your mind will begin searching for solutions instead of obsessing over problems. This practice of replacement creates momentum that builds confidence and action. Of course, replacing negative thoughts is not easy in the beginning. Your brain is accustomed to old pathways, so it resists change. Think about walking across tall grass every day along the same trail. Over time, that trail becomes clear and easy to follow. But if you wish to create a new trail, you must walk the new way repeatedly until it is as clear as the old one. Your brain functions in the same way. The more you practice positive thinking, the stronger that new mental path becomes. At the same time, the old negative path weakens, fading until it loses power over your mind. A simple 3-step process. can help you replace negative thoughts effectively. First, catch the thought. Pay attention to the exact words your mind is using. Second, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this truly accurate? Do I have real evidence? Third, change it. Replace the thought with one that encourages action and motivates progress instead of holding you back. Practicing these 3 steps consistently leads to lasting mental transformation. But be cautious. Do not replace negativity with false positivity. Your brain can sense when words feel fake, and forcing yourself to believe something that feels like a lie may backfire. Instead, choose affirmations that are hopeful yet believable. For example, rather than saying, I am the best in the world, say, I am improving every day and I am capable of more than I realize. Small, realistic affirmations are far more effective than exaggerated ones because your mind accepts them and begins acting upon them. Another useful method for replacement is affirmations, short, positive sentences you repeat daily. However, remember that affirmations alone are not enough. They must be paired with action. Repeating, I am confident, has little effect if your behavior does not match. But when you combine positive words with small, confident actions, your brain starts to believe them. This creates a cycle where your thoughts, words, and actions reinforce each other, making positivity stronger and more natural over time. Gratitude is also one of the most powerful replacements for negativity. When your mind tells you nothing is working, pause and list 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be big. It could be a friend's support, a warm, sunny day, or simply the gift of being alive. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to see opportunities, blessings, and strengths rather than problems and weaknesses. Think of replacing negative thoughts like tending a garden. If you only pull out the weeds but never plant flowers, weeds will always return. But if you plant seeds of hope, courage, and self-belief, they will grow strong and leave no space for negativity to come back. Just like a well-cared-for garden, your mind will begin to flourish with clarity, strength, and resilience. With daily care, these small practices create a new mental environment where negative thoughts cannot survive, and your inner world is transformed completely. Rule 3. Control your environment. You can train your mind for hours, but if you live in a toxic environment, your growth will be slow. Negative thinking becomes stronger when it is constantly fed by surroundings that are harmful to your mind. Just as plants need clean water, sunlight, and healthy soil to thrive, your thoughts also need a supportive environment to grow. If your surroundings are polluted, dark, or damaging, no amount of inner training will reach its full potential. Your mind absorbs what it sees and hears daily. And when you're surrounded by doubt, fear, or negativity, it gradually begins to shape your thoughts, your actions, and even your sense of self-worth. The first place to look is the people around you. Ask yourself, do they lift you higher or do they drag you down? If you spend much of your time with those who complain, gossip, or doubt everything, your mind will slowly begin to mirror their thinking. This does not mean you are weak. It simply means you are human. People naturally absorb the energy around them. Being surrounded by negativity is like sitting next to someone smoking a cigarette. You may not be the one holding the lighter, but you still breathe the smoke. Over time, it affects your health, your energy, and your mind. Your inner world works the same way. The moods, words, and voices of people near you influence how you see yourself, your future, and your possibilities. Managing your environment does not mean cutting everyone off or running away from challenges. It does not mean isolating yourself. What it truly means is choosing carefully where you place your energy and time. Be intentional about spending time with people who believe in growth, who inspire solutions instead of problems, and who push you to rise higher. Surround yourself with those who strengthen you, and if such people are not physically near, seek them through other sources. Books, podcasts, mentors, and online communities can give you the energy and guidance you need. Remember, the voices you expose yourself to daily eventually become the voice inside your head. They shape your beliefs, habits, and identity. But your environment is not just about people. It also includes the media you consume. If you are constantly watching negative news, scrolling social media, compare yourself to others, or reading hateful comments, your mind will become full of envy, fear, and anger. This is mental junk food. Just as your body weakens after eating too much unhealthy food, your mind suffers when it consumes too much negativity. Protecting your mental diet is essential to building a stronger mindset. Choose content that inspires, teaches, and motivates. Limit the time you spend on things that create stress, comparison, or self-doubt. Along with mental diet, design your physical surroundings to support positivity. Keep your space organized and clean, because clutter in your room creates clutter in your thoughts. Decluttering is not about decoration. It is about creating space for peace, clarity, and focus. Fill your environment with meaningful reminders of your goals and values. Place quotes, images, or objects that spark motivation. Play uplifting music that energizes you, not music that drags you into sadness or anger. Spend time in nature whenever you can, even just a few minutes a day. The calm, beauty, and rhythm of nature have a powerful effect on your mind. Never forget this principle. You are the average of the 5 voices you hear most often. If you want to defeat negative thinking, you must stop feeding it. That means choosing carefully the people you spend time with, the media you absorb, and the spaces you live in. Build an environment where positive thinking is the natural path, not the uphill battle, when your surroundings support your growth. Even on days when your motivation feels low, your environment will carry you forward. It will protect your peace, strengthen your thoughts, and support the positive patterns you are building. Controlling your environment is one of the most powerful yet overlooked steps in mastering the mind. You cannot fully control the entire world, but you can control the inputs that reach your brain. Every choice you make about what you watch, who you meet, and where you spend energy is shaping the life you are creating. When you take control of your environment, negative thinking loses its strength. Your mind grows sharper, your thoughts become clearer, and your life aligns more closely with your goals. In this way, your environment turns into a silent ally, helping you fight negativity, even in moments when you are not actively thinking about it. Rule 4: train your inner voice. Your inner voice is the strongest influence in your entire life. It speaks to you more often than anyone else ever could. Every single thought you have, every phrase you repeat to yourself, shapes your choices, your confidence, and your future. If that voice is harsh, critical, and filled with doubt, it will crush your motivation before you even begin. But if your inner voice is patient, supportive, and determined, it will lift you higher, guide you through challenges, and push you forward no matter how hard the road becomes. The way you talk to yourself decides whether you feel trapped by circumstances or empowered to move forward. Training your inner voice is like strengthening a muscle. The more you use it in a positive way, the stronger it grows. The very first step is awareness. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself in everyday moments, especially when things go wrong. If you spill coffee, forget something important, or make a mistake at work, notice your inner words. Do you say, "I'm such an idiot"? Or do you say, "That was a mistake, but I can fix it"? The words you choose matter because harsh words create shame, and shame destroys growth and confidence. On the other hand, kind, honest, and solution-focused words create learning, resilience, and progress. This doesn't mean you excuse mistakes or avoid accountability. It means you treat yourself as a coach rather than as an enemy. A true coach points out errors, but also offers encouragement, direction, and hope. One practical method for training your inner voice is the best friend rule. Whenever you experience failure or face a difficulty, imagine your closest friend in the same position. What advice would you give them? How would you reassure them? How would you push them to take the next step? Now give that same kindness and encouragement to yourself. At first, this may feel uncomfortable, especially if you have spent years criticizing yourself more harshly than anyone else ever would. But with steady practice, your inner tone will shift toward compassion and support. Over time, you'll notice yourself responding to struggles with patience and motivation rather than anger and self-doubt. Visualization is another powerful way to strengthen your inner voice. Each morning, spend a few quiet minutes imagining yourself facing a challenge with calmness, clarity, and confidence. Hear your inner voice saying, "You can handle this. You've overcome challenges before, and you are capable again." Your brain does not completely separate imagined experiences from real ones. By rehearsing successful responses in your mind, you train yourself to react with courage when real situations appear. Little by little, this practice rewires your inner voice to naturally support focus and calmness rather than fear and panic. Think of your inner voice as a captain of a ship. Your thoughts are the crew, and the crew listens to the captain's commands. If the captain panics, the crew panics. If the captain stays calm, clear, and decisive, the crew follows without hesitation. The same principle applies to your mind. When your inner voice is encouraging, confident, and steady, your thoughts align to take action. You handle stress more effectively, make clear decisions, and keep moving forward despite obstacles. But when your inner voice is weak, fearful, or judgmental, your thoughts scatter, your energy drops, and you feel defeated before you even try. Strengthening your inner voice takes patience, repetition, and consistency. Start small. Replace just one harsh thought each day with a supportive one. Use the best friend rule to correct yourself with encouragement instead of criticism. Practice short visualization exercises each morning. Over time, these small steps build into a powerful habit. Your inner voice gradually becomes strong, wise, and determined. It will remind you of your strengths, highlight your progress, and push you toward growth. Never forget, your inner voice is not simply a reflection of your mind. It is the force that shapes your reality. A supportive, confident, and encouraging voice will transform how you act, how you think, and how you see yourself. You may not always control what happens around you, but you always control the words you speak inside your head. By deliberately training your inner voice, you take command of your mind, just like a captain guiding a ship through stormy seas. With a strong inner voice, you will face obstacles with courage, learn from mistakes without fear, and gradually remove negative thinking from your life. Rule 5. Focus on what you can control. One of the greatest roots of negative thinking comes from attempting to control things that are completely beyond your reach. When you spend your energy worrying about events, people, or outcomes that you cannot influence, you create frustration, anxiety, and hopelessness for yourself. It is like trying to catch the wind with your bare hands. You will only wear yourself out while the wind continues to blow. Still, many of us waste hours, days, or even years trying to manage what cannot be managed. We replay past errors, picture worst-case scenarios, or predict what others might do, while ignoring the true power already in our hands. Think back to the last moment you felt tense or uneasy. What triggered it? Was it something you could truly control, or was it something completely outside your reach? Most often, we discover that our stress rises from circumstances far beyond our control. We worry about what someone said or did, repeat memories from the past, or picture future troubles that may never even happen. These thoughts drain our energy, yet they solve absolutely nothing. They are mental distractions keeping us trapped, preventing us from focusing on what truly matters. The secret to breaking free from negativity is to shift your focus toward what you can control. You cannot control the weather, but you can choose to carry an umbrella. You cannot control what others think of you, but you can choose how you act, speak, and respond. You cannot control the economy, the traffic, or other people's decisions, but you can always control your own habits, skills, and mindset. This change in focus does not erase every challenge, but it directs your energy toward steps that create results instead of feeding endless worry. A practical tool to develop this ability is a simple mental exercise. Whenever anxiety rises, pause and write down the situation that troubles you. Then divide it into two columns, one called can control and the other cannot control. Break down every detail honestly and place it where it belongs. After finishing, deliberately release everything in the cannot control side. Refuse to spend energy there. Instead, give your full attention to the can control column and design an action plan around it. This small practice reshapes the way your mind works. It trains your brain to sort the meaningful from the meaningless, the productive from the unproductive. Directing your focus on what you can control also builds confidence and responsibility. When you stop viewing yourself as a powerless victim of circumstances, you begin to realize that your actions matter. You gain strength by taking small daily steps. Each action reinforces a belief that you are capable, that difficulties can be handled, and that problems can be solved. This mindset slowly weakens negative thinking because your mind becomes busy with solutions instead of imaginary fears and regrets. Understand clearly that focusing on control does not mean denying problems or pretending all is fine. It simply means putting your energy where it truly matters. Rather than wasting effort on the unreachable, you focus on actions that bring results. For example, if an exam is approaching, do not waste hours fearing the difficulty of the questions. Focus instead on studying with purpose, organizing notes, and practicing what is in your control. If you feel nervous about a work project, control your preparation, planning, and effort instead of obsessing over what colleagues or clients might think. Over time, this becomes second nature. Your mind begins to automatically ask, "Can I do something about this?" If yes, you act. If no, you let it go. This reduces stress, clears your thoughts, and allows you to use your energy for growth instead of worry. Gradually, you will notice that negative thinking weakens because it feeds on helplessness, uncertainty, and fear. When you place focus only on what you can control, your mind becomes your strongest ally, pushing you toward solutions instead of trapping you inside problems. In the end, focusing on control is far more than just a mental trick. It is a way of living. It transforms frustration into action, worry into planning, and fear into courage. By consistently choosing to direct your power toward what lies within your influence, you shape a mind that is calm, confident, and productive. Negative thoughts cannot survive in a mind devoted to action and responsibility. Once you master this rule, you take back your power, your peace, and your ability to keep moving forward, no matter what life places in your path. Rule 6. Turn pain into fuel. Pain is one of the strongest triggers for negative thinking. When life hurts, your mind naturally reacts with feelings of unfairness, doubt, and despair. You may think, "Why me? This is too much. I can't handle this." At first, it is normal to feel that way. Pain is a natural human response, and allow yourself to feel it is healthy. However, staying in that mental space for too long can trap you in a cycle of negativity. Left unchecked, pain can dominate your thoughts, make you feel helpless, and lead to long periods of self-doubt. The truth is, pain has no power over you unless you give it power. Pain can either break you or build you. It depends entirely on what you choose to do with it. Think of your pain as energy. Right now, it may feel raw, confusing, or even overwhelming, but energy by its nature can be transformed. Many successful people have experienced heartbreak, rejection, failure, or disappointment. Yet, they have taken that very energy and turned it into motivation. The events that could have destroyed them instead became the fire that drove them to rise higher. The key is perspective. Pain is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a signal that growth is possible. The question is, how will you respond? Whenever you face a painful situation, pause and ask yourself, how can I use this? If someone betrayed you, let that experience teach you wisdom and the importance of stronger boundaries. If you failed at a project, analyze what went wrong, learn from it, and return with a better strategy. If someone doubted you, use their doubt not for revenge, but as fuel to show yourself your true capabilities. Every painful moment carries potential if you are willing to look for it. You have the power to turn what could harm you into the energy that propels you forward. One practical way to do this is through the power of reframing. Reframing means changing the way you interpret an event in your mind. Instead of saying, "This happened to me," say, "This happened for me." This simple shift does not require you to feel happy about the situation or pretend everything is okay. It means you are choosing to see that there is something valuable in the experience. Lessons, resilience, insight, or strength that you would not have gained otherwise. Even the worst moments can teach lessons that comfort and safety never could. Reframing turns obstacles into opportunities and transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Pain is universal. No one is exempt from it. Life is full of challenges, losses, and disappointments. You cannot always choose what happens, but you can always choose how you respond. Every moment you spend dwelling on suffering without action is a moment that strengthens negative thinking. But when you decide to turn pain into fuel, you redirect that energy into action, learning, and personal growth. It no longer pulls you down. It pushes you forward. Pain becomes a tool, a teacher, and a motivator rather than an enemy. Another important aspect of using pain as fuel is patience. Transformation does not happen instantly. It takes time to process emotions, understand lessons, and convert them into strength. Do not rush yourself or feel weak for experiencing difficulty. Strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from using it consciously. The more you practice turning pain into fuel, the more resilient your mind becomes. Negative thinking loses one of its most powerful weapons against you, the ability to trap you in despair. Ultimately, the goal is to see every painful experience as a choice point. You cannot control every event in life, but you can control your response. Every time you decide to use pain as fuel, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than circumstances, smarter than setbacks, and braver than fear. Over time, this habit rewires your brain. Pain no longer scares you. It teaches you, motivates you, and reminds you of your potential. By mastering this skill, negative thinking no longer has the power to dominate your mind because you have learned to transform one of its strongest triggers into your greatest ally. Rule 7. Practice gratitude daily. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for killing negative thinking because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. When you feel grateful, you cannot feel hopeless at the same time. Gratitude changes your perspective, and perspective changes everything. Many people underestimate the simple practice, thinking that it is only for special occasions like holidays, birthdays, or after big achievements. But the real power of gratitude comes when you practice it daily, even on ordinary days, and especially on the hard ones. When life is difficult, practicing gratitude is not a luxury. It is essential. Start small. Each morning, take a moment to write down 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be big or extraordinary. Maybe it is a roof over your head, the food you eat, the sunlight that warms your face, or a friend who makes you laugh. The simple act of noticing these things begins to train your mind to focus on the positive instead of the negative. If writing feels like too much, simply take 1 minute to think about these things before starting your day. Even pausing for a short moment of appreciation can shift your mindset, setting the tone for the hours ahead. Gratitude can also be practiced in the moment. When something good happens, no matter how small, stop and acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I am thankful for this. Maybe someone smiled at you, a task went smoothly, or you had a moment of peace. Pausing to appreciate it reinforces the habit of noticing the positive. Over time, these small recognitions accumulate, and your mind begins to naturally focus on what is going well instead of what is going wrong. Gratitude becomes a shield against negative thinking because your mind has less room to dwell on fear, doubt, or worry. Scientific studies support this practice. People who regularly practice gratitude report lower stress levels, better sleep, and stronger relationships. Their minds are more resilient, and they tend to notice the good in life rather than constantly searching for problems. The brain adapts to what it observes most frequently. When you train it to find things to appreciate every day, your perspective shifts naturally. You begin to see opportunities, kindness, and blessings where before you might have only seen obstacles, setbacks, or frustrations. This mental shift reduces the power of negative thoughts, allowing you to think more clearly and act more confidently. For those who want to deepen this habit, try gratitude challenges. One example is to write a thank you message to someone every day for a week. It can be a friend, family member, or even a colleague who helped you in some way. Another exercise is to review your day each night and think of one challenge you faced and at least one good thing it taught you. This trains your mind to find the silver lining in every situation. By practicing daily, your brain learns that even difficulties contain lessons, and this habit strengthens resilience and optimism. Gratitude is not about ignoring reality or pretending that problems do not exist. Life will always have challenges, failures, and pain. Practicing gratitude is about choosing which part of reality you focus on. You have the power to direct your attention, and where you place it shapes your feelings, actions, and thoughts. When you focus on what is good, you feed your mind hope, strength, and energy. When your mind is full of hope, negative thinking has nowhere to live. It loses its power because your attention is no longer available for fear, worry, or self-doubt. Daily gratitude transforms your inner world gradually but profoundly. It turns ordinary moments into opportunities for reflection, joy, and awareness. It rewires the mind to automatically notice blessings, kindness, and positive experiences, which reduces the mental space for negative thoughts to grow. Over time, this practice creates a mindset that is naturally optimistic, calm, and resilient. Even when life throws challenges at you, your mind has a foundation of gratitude to draw strength from, allowing you to respond with clarity, patience, and courage rather than despair or frustration. Remember, practicing gratitude is simple, but its effects are powerful. Every day, find moments to notice what is good. Write it down, acknowledge it, and reflect on it. As you do this consistently, negative thinking becomes weaker because your mind is occupied with appreciation, hope, and positivity. Gratitude is not just a habit. It is a mindset that protects your mental space and empowers your actions. By making gratitude a daily practice, you are creating an inner environment where negative thinking has no place to grow and your life becomes brighter, calmer, and more fulfilling. Rule 8. Live in the present. Negative thinking often takes root when we live too much in the past or drift too far into the future. When our attention stays stuck in the past, we replay mistakes, hold on to regrets, or wish situations had turned out differently. When our focus shifts to the future, we imagine worst possible outcomes, worry about things that may never happen, and fear what we cannot control. In both situations, the mind is caught inside a story instead of reality. The truth is, the only moment where we can act, feel, and create change is the present one. The past is already gone, and the future has not yet arrived. This single moment, right now, is all that truly exists. Learning to live fully in the present is one of the most powerful antidotes to negative thinking. Picture your mind as a room. If it is filled with old regrets, there is no space left for new opportunities. If it is crowded with fears of tomorrow, there is no room for today's blessings. The present is like a fresh breeze entering that room. It clears away the mental clutter, opens the windows of your mind, and gives you strength to act. Living in the present does not mean forgetting the past or ignoring the future. It means giving priority to what is unfolding now, because this is the only time where action, growth, and transformation truly happen. Living in the present takes focus and awareness. If you're eating, notice the food. Pay attention to its taste, its texture, and the simple act of chewing. Do not let your mind wander to tomorrow's tasks or yesterday's failures. If you are speaking with a friend, listen deeply. Notice their words, their gestures, their emotions. Do not replay old conflicts or think ahead to what you will say next. Mindfulness means experiencing each moment without distraction, judgment, or unnecessary worry. It teaches the mind to stay calm, centered, and clear. A powerful practice for this is mindful breathing. Whenever you feel your mind running with negative thoughts, pause and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the air enter and leave your body. Notice your chest rising and falling, the sensation of your lungs filling and emptying. This simple habit pulls you back into the present and breaks the cycle of worry and regret. Even a few seconds of intentional breathing can reset your focus, calm your emotions, and give you clarity to act with purpose instead of reacting out of fear or stress. Another useful method is creating present moment reminders throughout your day. Pick small cues that happen often, a phone buzz, walking through a doorway, or hearing a common sound, and use each as a signal to tell yourself, "Be here now." These reminders slowly train your brain to return to the moment, even when it wants to slip back into regrets or anxieties. With time, your mind will naturally rest in the present. Negative thinking begins to lose its power because it thrives on distraction and uncertainty. Living in the present also means accepting reality as it is right now, without resistance. Hardships, discomfort, and surprises are natural parts of life. When you fight against reality, you create stress, frustration, and needless negativity. But when you accept the moment, even if it is not ideal, you free your mind to focus on what can be done next. Acceptance is not weakness. It is clarity. It gives you the ability to respond wisely, to take meaningful action, and to search for solutions instead of being stuck in complaining, blaming, or fearing. The truth is, life is always unfolding now. The past is only memory, and the future is only imagination. You cannot live in either one. The more you practice staying grounded in the present, the more peace, strength, and clarity you will find. Negative thoughts lose their control because your attention is fully absorbed by what is real. The present is the only place where life is lived and progress is made. Each time you bring your mind back to the present, you sharpen your focus, calm your feelings, and strengthen your resistance to fear, doubt, and worry. By training yourself to live in the now, you lay the foundation for every other rule. Your mind becomes alert, steady, and strong. You catch negative thoughts early, replace them with empowering ones. Focus on what is within your control. Use challenges as fuel, and practice gratitude in each moment. Living in the present is not something you master once. It is a lifelong practice. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Negative thinking cannot survive in a mind deeply rooted in the present, and life itself begins to feel lighter, more meaningful, and more joyful each day.